You're listening to Operation Self Reset, episode 172. Let's get it started. What a crazy 2016 it was, but even more exciting is an impactful, exciting, exuberant, delightful, and just spontaneous and silly 2017. Happy New Year from my family to you. Hopefully, and I know deep down inside that this year is going to be freaking awesome. It is. You got to believe that, because if you do not believe it currently, you are not going to achieve it. So the only thing we can do is have that aspiration, have that belief cycle, and to truly dive deep into just feeling awesome and knowing that 2017 is going to be really good. Don't already think about quitting on your objectives. By the time you hear this, it's going to be January 4th, and there's a lot of you that may be still rocking the house with your goals. There's going to be some of you that probably drop the mic and go, you know what, I'm good to go. I'm happy in myself, thyself. And even though every year I try to lose weight, every year I try to improve my finances, every year I try to look for that dream job, every year I think about moving to from Milwaukee to Chicago, or Chicago to Milwaukee, or Australia to France, France to Australia. It doesn't really matter where you go, there you are, as my buddy Zig Ziglar has said many a time. And he is now resting in the big place upstairs. Zig Ziglar would always say that. There you are, or there you go, here you are. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, I apologize. I don't pronounce things very well. I stutter. I mess up quotes. Ideas, I think I get them through pretty well. But hey, there's always room for improvement, right? Because if I was so polished, like a nice shiny coin, I wouldn't look as cool as like an old, moldy, tarnished coin that's been, in the sack of a Jedi Master or something like that. Really random thought, but nonetheless, I thank you for being part of this podcast. I thank you for taking part in improving yourself. As people have said, it's vitamins for your brain, it's energy for your heart, and it gets you moving and grooving to just become better. A self-reset is nothing more than resetting the awesomeness that you have inside back into that routine. Back to who you are, back into your strengths. And today's episode is all about Happier New Year. And it's all about happiness. And how can we strive for that? And the funny thing is, as I was doing my research on this topic, that is what we strive for. I mean, if you really pull back the layers, that is really what we strive for. To be happier, to reach happiness. The reason why people try to increase their income, so they can do things, they can buy things, they can impress their friends or family, so they can internally be happier. The reason why you're trying to work on your health is to become happier. The reason why you're trying to find that awesome job or that passion project is to become happier. The reason why you want to, be finished with paying off your student loans is not because you can just have cash out of your ears, is to be happier, to not have that stress. And the more that I research this, the more it makes me realize, man, that is what we're all striving for. It really is. It's something that we're all looking at, we're all trying to accomplish, but we put barriers in front of. We almost like put wrapping paper over that present. That present inside is happiness, but we wrap it with money, we wrap it with a new car, we wrap it with a new relationship, or we wrap it with a new body or a new image or fake enhancements to our body. And in all reality, all we're striving for is a happiness. And I'm really getting sentimental here in my voice and my triggers. But in all honesty, that's what we're going for. And I think the reason why you're here and I'm doing this is to be happy, right? I know for a fact that I don't live in that every single day. I know that I need to be happier. I know that I can choose happiness. And we'll get into how do we become happier. And I wish there was a pill. I really wish there was. In some of these ailments that we all want, like we all want motivation. Jake, inject me with motivation so I can get started. Well, sorry to break it to you people. I don't have that injection. There is no injection, but if I was to create that injection that actually worked, I would be a quadruple billionaire. I think Richard Branson would be working for me along with Warren Buffett. They would be both like my servants or something. I don't know if I was to sell a drug of motivation, but there is none. And the same goes for taking a pill of happiness. It just doesn't exist currently. Maybe in the future, almost like the fifth element of just taking random pills and, man, you're just good to go. But let's kind of get into it because I'm just going to ramble here. It's the new year. It's 2017. So really, how can we gain happiness in 2017? I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so sorry for the quick, random, awkward moments there, but let's really focus in here. How can we become happier in 2017? The question is, it doesn't come from something we reached for. And I will raise my hand and saying, you know what? I love goals. I love objectives. I like figuring out our game plan. But it's time that we really start to work on ourselves on a deeper level. And I am running a mastermind group right now of around 20 individuals of self-reset mastery. And we are gearing and preparing for setting our goals for the year. And when I talk to these individuals, I think of there's so much more now important, that's not even a word, important things that we need to focus in on in just that specific craft of the goal. It is truly the process of reaching it, isn't it? I mean, I was just watching. I'm going to be honest here. I go on Instagram every once in a while. Instagram, it's a place where people post pictures and stuff. And there's a guy on Instagram. Oh, boy, I'm going to find him real quick. His name, oh, boy, I totally, this is classic Jake here. I have all these great ideas, and then I don't even follow through. I'm going to stall here. Okay, I can't find it. You know what? I'm totally going to ruin it. His name is Dan something. And Dan is a trust fund child, as in his father set himself up. He accumulated businesses, and I'm talking about his father, and he accumulated businesses in his life, and he set up a trust fund for his child, and his child was the name of Dan. And Dan grew up wealthy. He actually went into the military. He tried out for some special forces. He didn't make it. He discontinued his service with the military. He's born here in the United States. He hangs out here in the United States. And now what he does for fun is literally party his butt off. To the point of, I think he's in his mid-30s. He was born in 1980. And he's in his mid-30s, and he already has had 2 heart attacks, not because of chronic diabetes or blood clots or any crazy things that are going on with his actual health. It's because he partied too much. Now, Dan has 20 million followers on Instagram. 20 million followers. And what Dan posts all the time is basically about him shooting guns, traveling in his private jet, partying his butt off, hanging out with ladies. He is literally that iconic vision that all young men have. Money, status, freedom, ability to do whatever he wants. And I just came across him recently because he was featured on a podcast, and they were talking about heart attacks and how he had 2, and it was a wake-up call for him because he was partying for like 8 days straight. And this is not my normal realm to be talking about other people and their bad addicts and stuff like that, but it made me realize, wow, that there were times, because I like guns, I'll be honest with you. I like guns, I like shooting guns, I like having guns, I like just guns in general. I think they're just amazing pieces of craftsmanship. It's just amazing to hold in your hand. I've never pointed at anybody. I never shot anything. I never shot a deer or a squirrel. I've shot targets. Basically, that's the extent of my shooting career. But I enjoy that, and to see him with these very, very expensive machine guns and just, shooting at crazy stuff. Like, for example, he bought like 80 drones that were up in the air, and he shot them, all 80 of them, for target practice. There was no other reason to shoot the drones, just because he has the money, he has the weapons, and he has the ability. And so he films this stuff, and he puts it out there, and people love it, and they, give him all the love and support. And I was thinking, like, man, I thought that would be cool to have that ability to shoot like 80 drones with a gun. I thought that'd be really, really cool. But it made me realize, okay, reflecting, but would I love that? Like, would I love being in that situation? Would I love being Dan? And I thought, I don't think so. And it's hard to pull yourself away from that when you don't have anything. If you're down in the dumps, if you absolutely don't have anything going for you in your life, you do not have that ability to see past that Dan is actually not, maybe he is fulfilled, but maybe he's not. And also to realize that that's not the life that I want. For me, I'm in the process of building a big business. I'm in the process of being a great speaker. I'm in the process of traveling around the world and sharing my gifts that were given to me about personal development, about becoming freaking awesome, about being better. And that's what I love. I actually love doing this podcast in my home. I love the juggle that I have to perform, juggling 2 kids, juggling a house, rental properties, a full-time job, still married and dating my wife and trying to enhance our home and just being a great parent, cooking every single night. I actually love that. It's not that I love the outcome or not. It's that I love the process. I really love the process. I absolutely do. I'm recording this 8:30 at night on a Monday night. My wife's in the other room right now watching The Bachelor. And after I record this, I'm going to be joining her because she loves that show. And my goal for 2017 is to be her partner too, because she's supporting me in this endeavor, and I should support her. And getting back to Dan, what he does is really cool. He does some really cool stuff. He has that young man's dream that kids want, right? But that's not where I want to be. Like, I don't want just to wake up and I have $100 million in my bank account and I'm bored flying around the world. I love this. I absolutely love this. And the same goes for you. There are times that you absolutely love what you're doing, and there's moments that you just absolutely hate it. You wish you had that golden ticket, that check, that bank account, that connection, that one-stop shop, but it's not. It just doesn't happen like that. It's the process that we need to go through. And when I was discovering happiness and how to be happier, it's embracing and loving the process. I know I'm going to be, quote unquote, successful. And I don't mean that in a cocky way and that I'm the ultimate man and you should listen to me. But I say this in a way of, because I know it's going to work out. I know I'm not going to stop. I know I'm going to continue to grow. I know I'm going to mess up. I'm going to fail, and that's cool with me. It doesn't bother me. Like, I know the process. I know the outline. It's long and pulled out, and it's taxing and financially and physically and emotionally draining, but I know I'm going to get there. And the same with you. You're going to get there too. The bad part about our society, we want it now. Instant service. How irritated do we get when we go to the DMV? How irritated do we get when we stand in line at the banks or Walmart or Target or our local grocery store? The person in front of us pulls out 17 coupons and we're just like, come on, who cares? Just check out. Or the person that pulls out their checkbook and they wait until the last second to write the check. They know who they write the check out to. It's not the person that's checking them out. It's actually the company name, the name that is like in size 9,000 font on the front of the building. That's who you write the check out to. And so we want that stuff now, that instant gratification, but it's actually the process. It's actually the enjoyment of living, of doing, of being. That's where happiness comes from. And we'll get into more, and you're thinking, well, Jake, that's easy for you to say. Well, I'm just trying to get my feet underneath me. Well, yeah, all right. Okay. Look, I researched some pretty cool books. These authors are pretty top-notch. The ideas that they have are pretty stellar. And I'm going to share with you the top ideas that I pulled because I wish I was an expert in happiness. I'm not. I'm like you. I know happiness. That's something we go for. How do we get happiness? I don't do something you love, do something you enjoy. But after reading these books, it gave me some big ahas and like, oh man, okay, there's a little bit more to it than just doing good things for you. And so the 2 books that I really pulled some great ideas from were, number 1, Authentic Happiness by Martin Seligman. And the second book is The How of Happiness, a scientific approach to getting the life you want. See, I want the scientific approach. And that guy is Sonja Lyubomirsky. It's not Lyubomirsky. It's probably something else. I can't really pronounce it. I'm LD. I'm not the smartest or the sharpest. You know, this is a funny quote. Hey, have you guys ever heard this quote? It's called the sharpest knife in the drawer, right? The sharpest knife in the drawer. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as in there's other knives in the drawer that are sharper than me. I'm a knife in the drawer, but there's other knives that are sharper than me. So my sister was ripping on me way back in the day, around 5, 8, 10, 20 years ago. I don't even remember when. And we're at a restaurant with my family. And my sister, I said a comment, and my sister didn't get it. And I said, Jill, you're not the sharpest spoon in the drawer. Like, on purpose, you're not the sharpest spoon in the drawer. And she just, like, flipped out at me. Yeah, what the heck? There's no sharp spoons out there. Blah, blah, blah. And see, I was like, see, you are too technical. You are too, like, cynical on exactly what I'm saying. It's a joke. Like, you're not the sharpest spoon. There are no sharp spoons in the drawer of spoons. I guess it wasn't as funny as I thought when I said it. But anyway, okay, let's get into the happier new year. Let's talk about happiness. But before we do, yes! Oh my gosh, it's coming. You thought I almost forgot, didn't you? I know. You're thinking, you're driving right now, you're going, Jake totally forgot to do it. I didn't. Here it is, the awesome sauce. It is something that we do all the time. I developed this circa 2016, maybe early 2016 or late 2015. I should really go back in the archives and look for sure. But nonetheless, it's something that we do to get ourselves in the right frame of mind. When your body is moving, your brain is grooving, as one person has said. And it's time that we activate our internal self. And that internal self comes from a place of pure awesomeness. And that awesomeness needs to radiate out. It's as if that you had this pain inside of you, and you were to take that pain all the way up from your tippy toes to your into your gut, from your the tips of your fingers into your gut, or from the hair follicles in your brain to your gut, and you were to crush that down and compat it like a snowball, and to tuck it away. It's time for us to access that snowball and to open it up. And inside of that snowball is this thing called freaking awesome. And it's something that you have, it's something that I have, and we scream at the top of our lungs that we are freaking awesome. And I don't care if you're 15 years old, 10 years old, or if you're 68 years old or 96. It doesn't matter who you are, your background, where you came from, the problems or the successes. All I can say is this: all of us have awesomeness inside, and it's about time that we share it and we show it. And the only way to do that is to give that mantra, that self-proclaimed action of saying, you know what? It's about time. I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to bring that power out. And we do that by literally screaming at the top of our lungs that I am freaking awesome. We say it together as a team, as a community of individuals from around the world. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, your religion, race, gender, sexuality, TV show preference. It doesn't matter. This is an equal opportunity podcast. And so I want you to join me by standing in a position of power. There's a lot of scientific data behind standing in a position of power. And in our world today, we have this new kind of stature. It's called like the monkey neck or elephant tusk neck, where we're almost hunched over because where our cell phone is drooped down almost by our chest level, and our head is kind of yanked down and forward, and our spine is out of whack, our shoulders are pulled forward, and it's creating all this irritation in our body. And so it's time that we actually get in alignment with ourselves by putting ourselves in a position of power. And the way that we do that is why we stand up straight. We put our chest out, shoulder blades back. We put our arms overhead. You can move the fingers. You can point the fingers out. You can put the pinky fingers out. You can do the spirit fingers, the thumbs up, the hang 10, the bull horns. I don't care what you do, but you got to do something, people. And we're going to pull those shoulder blades back, and we're going to put our chin up, and we're going to look up toward the sky of the vision of the future of pure awesomeness raining down upon us. And we're going to scream, I'm freaking awesome. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, I'm freaking awesome! My wife is looking at me, confused and irritated, because she's watching The Bachelor, and I just screamed, I'm freaking awesome. I thank you if you did that for the first time. It's awkward and weird, but you know what? It's something that we do. So embrace it, and I challenge you to please participate one of these days. So let's get into the action-packed, happier new year, okay? So when it comes to happiness, it's something that we strive for, right? And a lot of us, when it comes to the new year, we always try to focus in on our weaknesses, right? Man, I stink at discipline. Man, I stink at relationships. Man, I stink at my finances. And there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to improving the weaknesses. They say the chain of link is only as strong as its weakest link, right? We understand that. If you have a weak link in the chain, it doesn't matter how awesome the rest of the chain is. If that one link is weak, it's going to break at that link and it's not going to cooperate and the thing is going to break, right? And so a lot of us are obsessed with improving our weaknesses. And there's a lot of great truth to that. I am a big believer of that. I believe that we need to be well-rounded. We need to, quote unquote, have it all and be it all and try it all. But when it comes to the science of happiness, they actually suggest that we embrace and work on our strengths. And it was an interesting twist of the table a little bit, because when it comes to changing up our strengths, it was kind of weird. Like, I know what my strengths are, right? Like, I'm good in random thoughts. I'm good at communication. I'm good at, bringing people together, a community. I'm good at being emotional. I'm really good at trying and challenging and all those great ideas. I think there's a lot of great stuff there. But when it comes to my weaknesses, I always think, man, I got to get better at this or that. And these books, again, The Authentic Happiness, Using the New Positive Psychology to Realize Your Potential for Lasting Fulfillment, and the book of The How of Happiness, made me realize that these two books really kind of engage on the idea of rock it out with your strengths. It's not that we shouldn't investigate or improve our weaknesses. It's that we should find our strengths and just be freaking awesome at them. Enhance them even more. And if you have 1 or 10 strengths, rock the house with those strengths. If you have 72 weaknesses that irritate you and all that stuff, they're saying identify them, look at them, see if you can critique them, improve upon them, but don't get trapped up in them. Because happiness really comes from being the person that you're designed to be. And the way that you're designed is by your strengths. And the question is, okay, Jake, I don't know where to get my strengths now. I mean, there's so many ideas out there. Where do I go for my strengths, Jake? That's my southern twang voice. I'm going to be going to Dallas, Texas very shortly, so I feel like I should get in the character. That was a very poor attempt. Next time I'll try harder. Anyway, where do you go? Well, I don't know. Look it up. How to find my strengths. There's like 10,000 free tests. You can buy the book Strength Finder. In there, they give you a code to find your quote-unquote strengths. I'm not going to point you in the direction because too many people are wrapped up in the technical side of how to find your strengths. You know what your strengths are. You know what you're good at. And if you don't know, if you want the free option, go to your spouse or husband, wife, go to a good close friend or your parents or your sisters, relatives, whoever, somebody that knows you. Ask them, what are my 5 strengths? And they'd be like, what? That's really weird and awkward. We were just talking about fantasy football. Yeah, come on, man. What are my 5 strengths? Give them time, but I would say that would be a great free option. They know you best. And again, the law of averages. Try a couple of people. Don't get wrapped up just on one person. But if you want the technical way, a Strength Finder, just go on Google, how to find my strengths, and there's like 10,000 links. Some of them you have to pay for. Some of them are free. I would suggest just going free and see what the recurring themes are with the answers that you personally obtain. So I thought that was really interesting. Rock out with your strengths. Weaknesses are something that we always want to improve upon, but what if you could enhance your strengths? How can you get better at your strengths? I think that's where the true magic is. I think that's where the true quote-unquote mastery is when you can become just so good at your strengths, so good that people won't fault you for your weaknesses. Because if you look at great people that are doing some amazing work in the world, what do they lean on? They lean on their strengths. Like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the actor. He's a great entertainer. I don't know how he is at maybe being on time. Maybe he stinks at being on time. But does he talk about that, and is he always reading on-time books? No. He's always reading and educating himself on how to become a better actor, how to get better in the entertainment factor, how to get better with the wow factor, all that stuff, because he's rocking his strengths out of the house. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really good. The second is 3 kinds of work that all of us go into. How do we find happiness within our work? Now, there's 3 types of work that all of us go through. Number 1 is our job. most of us are in. The second is a career. It's just a change of terminology. And the third is the calling. The call. I've been summoned to become awesome. Okay. Number one, job. That is basically you're just collecting a paycheck. That's all it is. You show up, you do what's needed to do, you check out at 4, 5, 6. It doesn't really matter what time it is. You collect the paycheck, you go home, you disconnect yourself. You cut the cord and you veg out. You wake up the next day, do it again. Fair enough. The second is career, right? You enjoy the benefits, and there are some mastery points of the domain, as in you enjoy what you do. You know, it's entertaining, it's exciting, it challenges yourself. You become a master of a certain topic or a program or an idea that gives you identity within a company or a organization. And I think there's a lot of value there. So that's pretty cool. You know, that's pretty good. But the last is the calling, right? It's the passionate commitment to work for its own sake, if that's the jargon that I wrote down. As we can know, a calling is living out your passion, living out your purpose. It's living out your being. You've been summoned to do it. It's your calling. It's something that you've been destined to. You've been placed on this earth for one reason in particular, and it is to do blank. Fill it in. It's that one thing. Now, a lot of us are caught up in the job and the career, right? Some of us are doing a career. You're listening to this. You may be going to a great job that you actually enjoy. And the only reason why you're listening to this podcast is because you want to get an extra couple tools for the toolbox. You want to maybe share some great insight to your friends or family or kids. Or maybe you're just trying to engage yourself and to understand that the level of your personal development is a direct relation of your level of success. And you're trying to enhance your level of success in the world to, quote unquote, to become happy. So you're learning this cool stuff. That is awesome. Then there are some of you that are living out your calling right now. And that may be doing it as a passion project, a side project, of doing it when the lights turn off, doing it when the kids go to bed, doing it when your wife is watching Bachelor, your 2 kids are in bed, the kitchen's a hot mess full of dishes, and you know when you're done with the podcast, you got to go out to the kitchen and clean all that stuff up because it's your wife's night to enjoy herself. That's my own personal example. But anyway, calling. That is a calling. And this is a great quote to kind of put it in context. A great quote, because you may be living in the job or the career asset, and you may be thinking, well, man, it would be really cool if I could find my career. I think that'd bring a lot of happiness to thyself. And this is really a really good quote. Any calling can be a job, and any job can be a calling. I'm going to say that again. Any calling can be a job. Any job can be a calling. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of truth to that. And one particular story that came to mind when I was kind of doing a little research here, I was in San Diego for some type of event. I can't even remember when. It was early 2016. And I remember I was walking early morning. Now, again, it's February in San Diego. It's like 80 degrees instantly in the morning. Sun blaring. I mean, geez, my body was absorbing that vitamin D like crazy. Here in Wisconsin in February, there's like no sun ever. It's miserable. It's freezing temperature. It's gray. It's like 50 shades of gray in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so I fly out to San Diego for this event and thing, and I'm running early in the morning, and man, did I feel amazing. I felt invigorated. I felt full of life. And as I was cooling down, I walked this gentleman. I could tell that he was either homeless or not very wealthy in any means, and he was picking up cans, and he was picking up paper, and I was in the spirit of gratitude. I truly was living out my gratitude, and I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for him to take the time to pick up the garbage, because I was not picking up the garbage. So I felt that it was almost due diligence that I should at least say thank you, or I appreciate you. And when I said to him, hey, thanks for picking that stuff up. That's awesome. He was picking up cigarette butts. They're like in almost like a little weld in a tree. And he was picking them out and collecting them in his hand, and he looked at me, and again, the guy hasn't taken a shower in a couple of weeks. Clothes were pretty nasty, all that stuff. And I think San Diego is known for the second largest homeless group or homeless individuals in the country of America. And I reached out to him. I said, thank you. And he looked at me and he said, no need to thank me. Mother Earth called me to do this. This is what I'm destined to do. I need to take good care of her. And I appreciate you thanking me, but this is my job. This is what I love to do. And I was like, dang, did this guy just throw me for a curveball? I was expecting him to kind of shy off and say thanks. And when he said that to me, like, I was like, wow. And I said, oh, that's really cool. And, I gave him another couple minutes of my time, and I walked off. And it was really impactful, obviously. Almost a year later, it still sticks with me. I mean, I can picture his face like no other. And the way that he said that, he was just matter of fact. Like, this is why I'm here. I got to take care of my Mother Earth. This is what I'm destined to do. And that may be deep for some of you. That may be really deep. But I think that all of us can find that. And it doesn't have to be full time. It's not something that we have to make a career out of it or to make money off of. It can be something that we do good for the world, good for our family, good for our friends, good for our community, just good for you. And when you do that and find that, I think that's pretty remarkable. And so what they're saying here is this, that happiness can come from any one of these three domains, from your job, your career, or your calling, because any calling can be a job, and any job can be a calling. Whatever you're in, it's truly all about the way that you think and process the thoughts. So let's get into the foundation of happiness. It can be found in three areas. Number one is how you behave. Number two is what you think. And number three is what goals you set in your life daily. Now, interesting at the end here, of course, I am obsessed with goals. I'm obsessed with achievement. And when they said this about the goals, I kind of dug a little bit deeper. And what made me realize is if you really don't have a plan to your day, then you're literally just walking around in circles in life. But if you have a plan, if you have objectives, if you have quote-unquote goals, it gives you direction. You can find happiness within achieving those goals. Like for me, I find happiness of knowing that I needed to do a podcast for today. I find happiness in this, and this is a goal that I needed to complete for today. Happiness can be found in the way you behave and what you think. Now, how do we go about that? Well, there's a great study that they provided. Again, sometimes I wish like I was the science guru and I could just like do these studies and tests and like put my name on it. Maybe someday I will, but I kind of wish I found this stuff out. Don't you ever wish like you watch something on like Shark Tank or, as seen on TV and you're like, man, I wish I would have discovered that. Just sometimes I wish, I don't know, just random thought. Anyway, so they took a study of around 50 identical twins that were separated at birth, and they wanted to understand what is happiness? How is happiness generated? How is happiness created? And the reason why they took identical twins is to understand that these twins were separated. One went left, one went right. One person was wealthy, the other was poor, the other person had it all together of health-wise, the other person was sick all the time. The study and the examples, go on and on and on. But what they found is this, which I thought was really creative, is that 50% of our happiness is fixed. And what they mean by that is it's fixed. We can't do anything about it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how bad it is or good it is, 50% of your happiness health status bar is fixed, as in it's wired through your DNA. It's wired in your genetics. It's wired for the person that you are. As we all know, we know some people, they're just always crabby, just always irritated. They never look at the good side of things. And we also know people that are always exuberant, excited, out of their brains, just, hey, nice to see you, just crazy, right? So this study showed, okay, 50% of our happiness level, good or bad, is fixed. There's no way that you and I can surgically go on in to increase that. But there's a lot of other factors that come to play here. 10%, so we're at 60%, is determined by our life circumstances. As in, what do we do with our life? What do you do with your life? Are you chasing money? Are you trying to attain elite fitness? Are you trying to reach for that new car? And circumstances are basically a reminder of our exit goals, extrinsic goals, as in fame, fortune, wealth, cars, ladies, guys, paparazzi, status, all those different types of things. That the only level of the happiness we can gain from those type of exit goals is 10%. That's it. 10% out of the 100% bar of Snickers is only created or can be obtained through achievement of external goals of reaching something, which I thought was very surprising. Now, again, this is science, and if you don't believe me, read up on these books. They give you all the examples, all the history behind it, all the studies, the controls, and all that stuff. This is legit stuff. I'm not just making it up to keep you engaged. But let's get into the other 40%. So we got 50% is fixed. It's the way we're wired. 10%, it can only be increased by the way that we reach our things in our lives, our circumstances, fame, fortune, wealth, something tangible, external goal, something we reach for. So if you're still with me here, we're doing mental math. 50 plus 10, we're at 60. 60 minus 100, that means we got 40 left, right? So 40% now is dictated of happiness by our, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? Emotions, feelings, behaviors, ideas, communication, people around us. Survey says behavior. Ding, 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 ding. All right, sorry. So 40% can only be created by our behavior, what you do and how we think. The behavior is what dictates how you and I can control what our happiness level is. 40% by the way that we behave. Behave in our job, our career, our calling, by the way we behave with our spouses, our families, our relatives, our friends, the way we behave on social media, the way we behave in our life, the way we behave in front of random people for no good reason than other just to behave nicely. And it's a reminder that if you want to truly have a happier new year, you need to be dialed in here and to understand that you cannot control your full 100 gauge of happiness because it's something we all strive for. But you have 40% that you can dictate through absolutely the way that you behave, from the actions that you take to what you think on a daily basis. And to kind of go back in the archives here of the way that we think is truly all about that little guy that sits inside of our head, the doubt man. The doubt man is this little gooey creature that sits in the frontal cortex of our brain that has all these levers, almost like the characters from the Disney movie Inside Out, where they have this control panel and they can make us do different things, from sweating to embarrassment to stuttering to not taking action to failure to feeling rejected, all these different things. And every single day, that little guy dictates on where you and I go. But the way that we think, the way that we behave, the way that we act can absolutely alter our subconscious mind of what that doubt man is doing up there playing with those levers. And when you do go into a situation when you know you should be taking action, or when you should be asking for help, or when you should be asking out that guy or girl on a date, but you don't, you're letting that doubt man win. When you can overrun that person inside your head and say, no, it's going to be awkward, it's going to rejection, they're not going to know what to say, you're an idiot, or you're not worth it, these people think you're going to be silly and dumb and all that stuff, that's when you step up to the plate and you be your own hero. And you say, I'm freaking awesome, I can do this stuff, I'm going to rock it out. It's going to be embarrassing, it's going to be awkward, but I'm just going to ask. I'm just going to do it real quick. I have to know, I got to make sure I'm on the same page of this person or that person, or just to know with that significant other, how are they feeling, how am I feeling, just get it out there. And so for all of us that are trying to reach something, a goal, success, an objective, income, wealth, fame, fortune, just being awesome every single day, that happiness can be created. Happiness can be found in many things that we do. And happiness is truly what we all need to embrace upon when it comes to realizing our strengths will take us there. Dial in, be a master of your strengths. And when you do that, things will start clicking. This was a big aha for me. And obviously, there's some great content in these shows, in these podcasts, and also all the other podcasts that are out there in the world. But I felt like this was a big one for me personally. I'm going to enhance my strengths this year. I always want to work on my weaknesses, willpower, self-discipline. But in actuality, it's time that I become an absolute freaking awesome master of these traits that I have, that I'm already good at. And how can I enhance them even more to make a bigger impact in the world that I serve? So with that being said, I appreciate you. I thank you. If this is your first time to the podcast, thank you. Hopefully this resonated well with you. If you guys would, please leave a review on iTunes. I would greatly appreciate it. This is a 100% free podcast. Free. Sometimes I get advertisements on here. I may be doing more advertisements in the new year. Would you guys care if I did more advertisements, or would you think that'd be silly? I'm just curious. What do you guys think? I'm looking for some feedback. Again, I'll be honest with you. This podcast, it's time consuming. There's a lot of energy and effort that goes behind the scenes. It is enticing. There are companies that want to get on this show, not because of just the content that I'm providing, but because of you guys, the listener base. You guys are bringing the woodwork. This podcast is going up 15% month after month. It's like unheard of. And I'm not with the big boys yet, and that's cool. Like I'm good. I like the process, right? But all I can say is I appreciate you, and I thank you for listening. I thank you for spreading the word. If you think I should keep on rocking out the free podcast, let me know. If you think, you know what, Jake, I'm cool with you advertising every once in a while or advertising every week, that'd be cool too, let me know. This is kind of your show in a way. This is a show that I need feedback. And because it is the new year, 2017, I want to know what can I do to make this the best podcast out there? Literally, it's a big question. But with big questions, I get hopefully big results. What can I do to make this the best podcast out there? I may reach it, I may not. But you probably have listened to other podcasts, and I don't have all the time in the world to analyze every single podcast out there. But if you have any suggestions, tips, ideas on how to enhance it or what I should do, or this would be cool if you did this or that or whatever, I'm all ears. This is designed for your success. In the process, I get to go along. In the process, I get to learn some cool things and implement it in my life. But this is literally for you guys. I mean, look, this is not an easy life, right? But think how much better it can be if we know the right strategies, tools, and outlooks to make sure we do have a freaking awesome life, right? I mean, that's what we strive for. We strive for that happiness. I mean, literally, pull back, like I said, it's wrapped up in that box. Happiness is in there. It's just wrapped with a car, money, fame, fortune, iconic status, whatever. But that's not what we're really going after. We're actually going after happiness. So for my happiness, if you could, let me know what I can do to improve this podcast. Send me a text or call me. My number's 414-550-4012. Again, it's 414-550-4012. I appreciate you. I thank you. I love you. Until next week, Wednesday, for another great episode of Operation Self Reset. Keep it real. Keep it awesome. We'll see you next time, freaking awesome individuals. Later.